Hello, good morning, happy Monday. Hold on, I'm not here. That's not good. Wait, why am I off screen? That didn't fix it. Um, doo, doo, doo. Oh, oh, that's not good. Well, this might be a stream without me. I can't find my camera. Hold on, let me try unplugging and plugging everything back in again. I was wondering what was going on because the Stream Deck's not working, but this microphone is plugged into the same USB ports or USB hub. So kind of surprising there. So hold on, I will be right back. Also, I'm gonna mute just in case there's weird things, weird pops. All right, let's see if this is gonna be any happier. So come here. All right, you activate the camera. Hey, there I am. And that's okay. Apparently need to fix you. Chroma key. Something like that. That looks right. All right, there we go. We got a camera, we got audio. We're ready to go. So, the plan for today is to continue on with the Linux Docker. Yeah, my brain was like really trying hard to get me to say Discord there, but that was absolutely wrong. The Linux Docker security article and lesson. So, if I remember correctly, we were in the middle of writing this article on how to install Docker without root, so the rootless one. And we ran into an issue, which it installed some updates automatically. I want to try to do this again. Maybe there's better luck this time. So let's go ahead and re-log into here. And if we look at our history, we were trying to run this one, the user bin that command. Oh, interesting. Does it need Docker to be up and running? Start a Docker service, rootless. Okay. This is a lot better than last time. But it can't connect to the Docker daemon. And I need to remember what password I used. No, okay, so the Docker daemon isn't running. It tried to successfully set it up. Okay, so if I remember correctly, we did install these. We did set up this, so it should have enough. I rebooted the... I guess we could double check. This one I know that was installed. That should be fine. This one... I did set that up, didn't I? I copied what the other user had, which would be 100,000 instead of 65,000, which is enough. And I could do this command and it should show us, this should be fine. Yeah, 100,000. And the same thing there. Then for Ubuntu, install this package, which I'm pretty sure we've done. Does this user get... I don't think this user is in the sudoers file, is it? Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed. Okay, so it didn't do anything. So I don't need to relog in. Okay, so we didn't do this last time, so let's try this one. So we will disable the system-wide Docker daemon. Oh, I think, wait, did we do that? We might have. Okay, so you're disabled. Oh, right, then we did all this stuff. Okay, so we want to go to user bin. And install you. That cannot connect. Troubleshooting. So it's not permitted. I guess, like, is there an error farther up here? So we have warning file exists. Warning no io.max support. Cannot connect to Docker daemon. Okay. And you are attempting to connect to Docker daemon in my home directory. So that's good. Let's see if any of these errors make any sense. Interesting. Okay, so that's too bad. There's no error message for this specifically. Can I run like Docker D? Needs to be started with root privileges. Okay, but I'm trying to. Oh, do I run it? That's user bin Docker D. Is there the local one? So dot Docker. There's nothing in here. Yeah, there's nothing in here. Okay, do I need to... Okay, so I run Docker. Okay, let's re-SSH in. Ooh, okay. That's too bad. Okay, so even though I installed it locally, it didn't... Do I need to uninstall it first? Because like this is all talking about it as if like after I've installed it normally, right? So I wonder... Yeah, if you installed this with like one of the packages, we should now have that in user bin, which is a little bit odd because if I completely remove it, that it would just be gone then, right? But maybe that would work. Maybe I want to install these and uninstall. To remove the systemd service of the Docker daemon. Oh, do I need to do this? Maybe I missed a full step. Okay, that removes that. I don't necessarily want to uninstall, like remove the data. Do I want to remove the data? Maybe I do. Sure, why not? I don't care about any of this. Oh, but this is Docker CE rootless extras. Okay, so I need to install this. So maybe now I can reinstall that. Oh, but the same problem. So now it makes me wonder, are these the issue? No wait support. see a lot of how to do it, but I'm not seeing my error pop up in uh, any of the sort of like the cached description summary, which makes me think that none of these, like these don't have that problem. So now this is on DigitalOcean. I wonder if we can do Docker rootless DigitalOcean. Ocean. I mean, okay, these are the same things that we were looking at before. That's just how to install Docker. Okay. This one is not. This one, maybe that's back from 2020. So who knows if that has an issue or not. Yeah, and a few other articles of just how to do it. Yeah, I mean, I really like the idea of this, but I don't like the fact that it just didn't work. So I'm thinking of giving up on this part and instead focusing on the rest of the article, which we're pretty much done. So we can just write a conclusion, remove that part, and then maybe later we can do, maybe if I figure out how to work with this, we can work with it then. We'll move forward with that at that point in time. Okay, so let's close you. We don't need you. If I don't need you, we're good to go. I'll just leave you up and I'll remove you later. Okay, so this entire section we don't need. Okay, so what we have what are the dangers of running Docker with sudo? Remove Docker privileges for the kernel. Map the container root user to a host non-root user. We did a lot of different things here, so maybe a conclusion would be really helpful. Okay, so we have secured, we have made Docker more secure. Coffee drinker, hello, how are you doing today? You're doing good, still at work? Well, hopefully your work is good. Do you think I need to explain what a 0-day vulnerability is? So basically, like this all being said, there are still 0-day vulnerabilities that may I could allow a bad actor image to successfully break out of the container and gain access to your system. We should still be careful when running strange code. You're doing a scan for hard-coded credentials and config maps on Kubernetes clusters now, so the scripts are doing the work while you watch Twitch. Nice. It is always like that's always the dream, isn't it? I remember back when I was a sysadmin, the dream was always like, oh yeah, automate everything so we can go and work from the beach. Which of course never happens, because as soon as you automate something and you gain some free time, we, find more work to do, more things to do. So we just do more and more and more. Okay, so we should still be careful when running strange code, even though we are safer than we were before. And then I think that's gonna be it. I guess we could also mention, like, there is one more thing. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to mention it here. I can put a section for Okay, so when creating this course, we couldn't get it to work on a DigitalOcean droplet. It's like 22. I think it was 22. You know what? No, change my mind. Not even gonna include it. We're just gonna pretend it doesn't exist. All right, so by the end of this lesson, oh, we can still do that. We're gonna remove that one. Okay, so allow users to launch Docker, to run Docker. I don't like that sentence structure. Let's say, okay, so it's highly recommended that we run Docker with sudo, even if we've set up all of the security precautions above. Was it Docker home, Docker desktop? This will install. Yeah. Docker desktop on Linux runs a virtual machine. The other one, install Docker. Okay, so install Docker. This will install a VM, just like blah, blah, blah. The drawback is blah, 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 all the things. So then I want, what do I want to say? I want to say, add the user to the, I think it's the Docker group. Add the user to the Docker group. This will allow them to run Docker without sudo. Now, do you have... I mean, I think it's literally just... Oh, create a Unix group called Docker and add users to it. When the Docker daemon starts, it creates a Unix... Okay, wait. So it's we have to create the... Oh yeah, we have to group add. I'll just put the full URL. Oh, I can say found in the Docker documentation. Okay, so I'm not really directly telling them how to do this. It's more of like, hey, if you still really want to do this after everything else, go to here and then you can do it. We can go ahead and test this just to make sure it's working the way we expect it to. So basically, we need to create this group, Docker. All right, so okay, so the group already exists. Add my user here. Now it's adding like my user in through this because that should be me. Now I should be able to, I think at this point in time, I should be able to do Docker images. Oh, Docker's not running because I screwed it all up because we turned it off. I want to enable you. Do you run right away or do I have the system? Oh, it's not enable, it's start. Oh, okay. So that didn't work. Oh, that is me. So I am in the group. What else? Did I miss a step? Oh, log out and back in. Yeah, that would do it. Okay, so let me try. That didn't do that. If I try to sudo. Okay, so that didn't work either. I don't see the permission denied. But after doing all the other weird stuff, I bet that caused problems. So I bet that's us doing weird stuff and like all the other sort of like trying to install it as rootless. So, that's fine. I think it'll be fine. I just told them where to go to find this. It'll be great. Everything will be fine. There won't be any problems whatsoever. Okay, let's review this. And then I need to reinstall. I need to reset the to that image we took at the very beginning and start over from there. And then we can do all these things, which will be a long video, but it'll be fine. Okay, so I guess review first. Let's go ahead and also run ispell. What? I thought insert was, yeah, accept the word and put it in my private dictionary. Oh, lowercase sudo. Yeah, that's fine too. Wait, is it kernel with the E as opposed to an A? I need to look that up now. Oh, yeah, it switched it to EL, so it is EL. Space was ignore, right? Yeah, space leaves the file unchanged. Admin isn't a word? Oh, come on. That's a word. Oh, and I can also accept it for the rest of this file, I think, too. Ooh, okay. I bet there's another line beneath this. That's a problem. That's fine. Great. Yeah, okay, this is the main one. So I want to find where there's a sudo with a new line, because that should go there. Okay. I think that's going to be everything. All right, so let's read this and review it and see what we got. Running Docker without sudo on Linux. Video objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe why running Docker without sudo is dangerous. Remove capabilities from the root Docker container user. Remap the root container user to a non-root user on the host system. Allow normal users to run Docker without sudo. Content. What are the dangers of running Docker with sudo? I feel like should make... No, it's okay. Since Docker is installed as root by default, it is root access to our systems. By itself, this isn't a terrible thing. Many programs have root access. However, Docker is a special case since we are using it to run code inside containers. Since Docker is running as root, this means that anything in the containers are running as root. Well, kind of. The root that is running in the containers has a limited number of kernel features that a normal root user would have access to. This being said, should be this being said or that being said? That being said, the default capabilities are still enough to cause significant damage if code were to break out. However, even if the code doesn't break out of the container, we still have a significant vulnerability with Docker when we run without sudo. Any shell script or program would be able to run a Docker command to spin up a container from any image behind the scenes and mount our file system into the containers. This could allow malicious code to use Docker to do the following or worse. Mount your home directory into a container and run malicious code on it. Mount the root directory into a container and delete it. Download a malicious Docker image and run it as a daemon in the background. Having the sudo requirement reduces the chance that arbitrary Docker commands will be run on our computers. Remove Docker privileges for the kernel. Docker has a default profile that limits the capabilities that the container can do to the host system. This list we link to is an allow list, meaning that if the profile doesn't include the command, then it isn't possible for the container to run it. Let's play around with this. First, we'll run a container with the default profile and create a directory on the host system from inside the container. Not surprisingly, this worked. We were able to create a directory on the host system from inside the container. Let's create a new profile and remove the makedir command from it. Since the profile is an allow list, it will automatically deny makedir from the container. Since we have Docker Engine version 25.03, we can use the default Docker profile for that version. On GitHub, we go to 25. We can copy this into a file. In this case, no makedir profile JSON, and remove the line that has makedir. Now let's run a new container and use this custom profile instead using the -- security opt seccomp equals option. Oh, same problem here. So we want that. operation not permitted. In this case, when we attempted to create the directory, Docker refused to let us do it. We don't have permission, even though we are root in the container. Map the container root user to a host non-root user. By default, the root user in the Docker containers are running as the same root user that we would have if we were to run sudo su dash. This is handy since we have root access in the container and can do anything we want. This is also dangerous since if we mount the Docker container to a file system, we have rewrite access to files that normally only root would be able to affect. It is possible to use something called a user namespace to isolate the containers to a specific user. Let's try this out. First, we're going to switch the root user and create a directory and file that only root should be able to edit. So, okay, there we go. We do that. Before we map the container root to a host non-root user, let's try editing the file from a Docker container. So we edit the file. That's great. Okay, now that we have verified the behavior that we don't want, let's map the container root user to our main user. We can also do this for any user on the system, so it's possible to remap to a user that doesn't have any permissions. First, we'll need to update the Docker daemon config file at etc docker daemon to include an entry for the user we want to remap to. In this case, we'll add in the following to the file. Then restart Docker. We can do this by either rebooting or running the command to restart services. The specific command will change based upon the operating system that you're using. In this case, we're using Ubuntu, so we can restart Docker with the command service docker restart. After Docker restarts, we can now run the id command to verify that the special default uses doc remap was created. We can also check that that Docker has updated the suduid and the subgrid of files to map the user to a range of possible UIDs and GIDs. Seccomp filters, yeah. If a program is somehow able to break out of the container, they will have one of the UIDs and GIDs, which shouldn't be mapped to a real user, making it impossible for them to do anything on the system. Now at the very end, I have that like, yeah, there's still 0 days that could you can have a 0 day in Ubuntu, you can have 0 day in the core Linux kernel, you can have a 0 day in any of the some of the commands, you could have a 0 day in Docker itself. Any one of those potentially could allow you to still break out and get access to a real user or even the root user, which obviously is not great. However, we are way more protected than if we didn't do that. At this point, we now have isolated Docker containers to the namespace doc remap. This has some ramifications, mostly that any containers and images that we previously created are not available to us. We can verify that with the sudo docker images command. Let's retry our experiment from before and check if root on the container can write to the root-owned hello.txt file. And it cannot. Permission denied. As we can see, even though we are the root user in the container, that user doesn't have the permissions to write to the file, so permission is denied. Should I use default? Will that also screw us over for our own owned files? That might screw us over for our own owned files. I should probably switch this to use our user. So I think we can do this. Yeah, the demo works, everything's fine. So if I just switch this to secure Docker, I think then it just works the way we expect it to. It now is in here. So instead of doc remap, So we already had our user, so we already had a UID, we already had a GID, and we already knew what groups we were in, so we don't need this at all. And then we'll just remove that line. I guess like the range of UIDs may be different. At this point, we now have isolated Docker containers. Okay, so that's gonna be fine. Let's retry our experiment from before and check if the root user, okay, so we do that. And now it will not work. As we can see, even though we are the root user in a container, the user doesn't have permissions. Okay, great. Allow users to run Docker commands without sudo. It's highly recommended that we run Docker with sudo, even if we've set up all the security precautions above. If we really don't want to run Docker with sudo, then we have a couple of options. 1. Install Docker using Docker Desktop. This will install a VM, virtual machine, just like Docker Desktop on Mac and Windows. The drawback is that the same slowdowns that we see on Mac and Windows will now also occur on Linux. Second one, add the user to the Docker group. This will allow them to run Docker without sudo. However, the security implications discussed above will still be present. Instructions for how to do this can be found in the Docker documentation. Conclusion. We have made Docker more secure by removing features that the containers can use at runtime, as well as set the root user in the container to map to a non-root user in the system. Even better, that non-root user isn't our main. Okay, so I don't have that. This all being said, there are still zero-day vulnerabilities that could allow a bad actor image to successfully break out of the container and gain access to your system. We should still be careful when running strange code, even though we are safer than we were before. Okay. You know what? I'm going to remove those quotes because that might cause people to give people the wrong idea. Okay, so that's good. The next step would be recording the video. An ad is going to be starting in less than 1 minute. I'll probably go and switch out and go grab my breakfast smoothie. When that starts, in the meantime, I do need to set up. I need to restore. So if I go to DigitalOcean, can I log in? I can log in. Okay, perfect. Now, can I restore you? Okay, so we have, oh, I have the, create something new. Okay, that's not what I want. Oh, where's the snapshots? Images? Yeah, images. Okay, that has snapshots. So we have, oh, but that installed Docker. Oh, I took the snapshot after we installed Docker and, oh no, that's perfect. We wanted Docker to be installed from that. Okay, so I want to create a droplet from that. Ooh, restore droplet. Yes, that will work. Okay, perfect. So I want to come back to here. Let's log out. I'm going to click the restore droplet command. And it's going to replace everything that we did with what we had before, so we can now do the video, and everything will be fine, and we should be good to go. And that will take a few minutes, which is perfect because ads just started, and we'll go ahead and let those run through a quick break. So we'll be back in 3 minutes or so. See ya soon.